Hi, the Sergeant Beast Larson. As we conclude the end of National Correction Officers Week in celebration and honor, I want to read something to you. And this is something that's been on my mind my whole career. As a police officer, as a SWAT officer, in corrections, CERT, tactical squad, I have cherished some of these words over my 30 years. And it's Psalms 23. And I'm going to explain what it's meant to me during those times of struggle, during the danger, bombs and booby traps, SWAT entering houses. Things have been ugly and violent and wild. This is what this is meant to me. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. We are not the ultimate leader. That reminds me there's always somebody of higher authority. Even if we're the chief or the sheriff, there's somebody of higher authority, and that's Almighty God. So we have to be careful that we're not entering, leading is great, but we're not playing God. We're not God. That reminds me, we all answer to God as well. When you make entries in the cell extraction, you have to answer to somebody. We also have to answer to God in our heart. We are not alone. Our partner is Jesus. You remember the poem, The Footprints in the Sand? The set of two sets of footprints. Sometimes there's one set. Jesus carrying us. There are times in our career in law enforcement that we need to be carried. We need to be led and guided. Sometimes we're the leader and the steps are behind us following. We are chosen for this job. The essentials are provided for us. I shall not want. I prayed, is this the right job for me when I was young? Lead me, open the doors, and the doors open. And as they open and the job opened to go into police work, a job with a department that had the essential tools and training to prepare me, to make me safe. That's important. Being a peacekeeper. Blessed are the peacekeepers. You've heard that for many times. We were chosen and we were blessed until we choose not to be the peacekeeper. Whether we retire, things come up, life changes, God leads us in a different direction, we are that peacekeeper in our mind and in our heart. As long as we are in faith, we will be that peacekeeper. When we lose our faith and we step across the line that turns us into the criminal, we've lost our faith. We're not following anymore. The Lord is my shepherd. We need to follow. That's the very first sentence. Verse 2, He maketh me lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. That tells me a lot of things. Tactically, as a SWAT guy and as a sniper, you use the pastures, the green pastures, to make your way tactically from one place to another. Location A to location B. He maketh me to lie down. Usually the leader is looking and communicating, and the soldiers, the warriors, the troops are lying low. What this tells me is, as we're approaching a dangerous and violent situation, oftentimes there's cover and concealment there for us. I'm thinking tactically. It's provided. It's there. I just need to have the ability to see and recognize this. Also provides an alternative route. He leadeth me beside the still waters instead of straight across the pasture. Maybe there's a reason, a safer reason for that. You have to be open-minded to follow. You have to be open-minded to have more than one path. It's very important. Besides the still waters, beside the still waters. I said that twice. What does that mean? Calm and quiet movement of the water. In the Bible, Jesus parted the rivers. He calmed the waters. Why? For a silent approach, to have calm, clean water, maybe to refresh, to splash water in your face to drink from. There are reasons. We don't need to know why. We don't question why. If you're a SWAT team moving from here to there, somebody's got water, somebody's got something, that's been provided for you. Think about what I'm saying. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. To me, that means he's going to pick me up when I fall down or I fail or I make a mistake. You know, when you ask forgiveness, God will forgive you. In law enforcement, you know, chief and the sheriff will forgive you. They need you to be honest when you're doing things. Pick you up. Pick you up when you fall down. Give you encouragement to try again and again, to never give up. Leads me down the path of honesty and law. Leads me in the paths of righteousness. When you're being righteous, you're being honest. Law abiding. Is it not? In the uniform and the badge, we're in the bubble, in the glass house to say, we need to be righteous. We need to be honest. We are the leaders. In all of this, we give honor in his name. And watching sports, only some sports, when you watch TV shows, you know, like an American Idol, these contests on here, a lot of the times after the contestants sing, they look up, they give God the glory. Are we giving God the glory as officers for what we've just seen or accomplished or led our coworkers through or followed through and come out safely? We're all in one piece, nobody's hurt. Are we giving God the glory for that? Other people do. Why can't we? We do. Sometimes we do. I've seen a lot of posts on Facebook of officers praying with citizens, praying over their meal. They're around in a group hug, you know, praying before shift. Honor in his name, for his name's sake. That's what it means to me. Not being afraid to honor his name. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. That's meant a lot of things to me. Something very important to me last summer down at Ware State Prison in Georgia when one of my friends was taken hostage, stabbed and beaten severely. Captain Payne. I talked about this briefly. I sent it to somebody to share with him. I didn't have a direct contact anymore. This verse reminds me of that because he was tax squad commander in Georgia. He always led his team willingly through the valley of the shadow of death. In prison, there are a lot of valleys of shadows of death, the gates to hell. There's a lot of evil in prison. There's a lot of evil in this world, period. Whether you're police or correction officer, state patrol, all of the above in uniform and a badge, you're going to walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You will fear no evil. Why? For thou art with me. Thou art with you. Talking about Jesus. Talking about God, the Holy Spirit, the Trinity with you. You're not alone. And through this not being alone, whether you're the leader or you're the follower of a leader, you're walking beside, you've got one extra person on your side. Jesus walking right there with you. And you better believe in this as you're walking through the valley of shadow of death to get to the other side alive, to get home to your family. This verse right here, verse 4, has been one of the most important to me from Psalms 23. Many times in my career, things I would think and pray, and these thoughts come through my head getting through this. As a police in a rural county, our backup was 8.5 minutes away. It wasn't a city, somebody there 2 minutes or less. There was a lot of footprints next to mine in the journey of my career. I did not fear evil. I respected man's ability to be violent and to kill and to attack me. I've been shot at. I've had guns and knives at my face. I've been through that. I didn't fear evil. God provided me with a great department, with great training, great intelligence and common sense, and a good heart. He protected me. The rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Through our faith in God and God's hands protect us. God is there with us, like a rod and a staff. Like in the Old Testament, when they were at war just to have freedom to worship God, God was there. He protected. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. How many times as officers do you sit in uniform in a restaurant at a table around citizens? Yes, as a uniform, you live in a glass house. Total transparency. But God tells you not to be afraid. Yes, somebody's going to sit with their back to the wall, somebody with their back to the people. You're always watching each other. Thou preparest the table before me. When two or more are gathered and call upon his name, God will listen. When a group of officers in uniform sitting down together call upon his name, he will answer, he will listen. Don't be afraid to be in uniform and be in a group like that. God blesses us from day to day. From the day we take the oath to the last day, to our day of retirement. Blessings are overflowing if we will receive them, if we have faith. Our lives will have goodness. We will be thankful. God will give that to us. Anointed your head with oil. He's protecting us. I'm a baptized Christian, 13 years old. I went down the altar in revival, gave my heart to Jesus. A couple months later, my dad, who's a pastor, baptized us. There were several of us in that youth group. Anointed with oil, my cup runneth over. God will never stop giving to us as correction officers, as police officers. Blessed are the peacekeepers. The cup runneth over, so does his blessing. And lastly, verse 6, surely goodness and mercy shall follow me in all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. God shows goodness and mercy on us many times over and over. If you're faithful and you're open to this in your career, you will realize how many people avoided death, how many times God watched over, how many people and children were spared. Now, I never try and play God. I'm not God. I'm not answering for God. I can't answer when God chose to take his people. God has a reason for that. And there has been great loss in the law enforcement community by being killed, as well as officers taking their own life. There's so much out there, tragedy that we have to see and have to be a part of. God still rewards us as peacekeepers. Understanding that this career that we asked for and we chose was chosen for us as well and given to us. Goes hand in hand. Two sets of footprints. My footprint, Jesus walking with me.